Obviously, a massive part of the discussion for this NFL offseason has been about quarterbacks, and rightly so, and specifically one quarterback who fell really far in the draft and eventually got taken by the Cleveland Browns, and that is Shedeur Sanders. And there's a lot of quarterbacks on that team. They drafted another quarterback before Shedeur. Dylan Gabriel is on that team. Joe Flacco, old man Flacco, also on that team. And so inevitably, as Joe Flacco, a lot of experience, probably would be pretty decent for them to roll out there as starting quarterback with the success he's had over the past couple of years in Cleveland and in Indianapolis for stretches. Everything is about Shedeur Sanders. When it comes to the media, when it comes to questions, everything. And Joe Flacco was asked about being a mentor to Shedeur Sanders. Now, this is a guy who wants to be the starter and who thinks he can still play in this league. And Joe Flacco has made it clear for about a decade, between his small time in Denver, talking about being a mentor to Drew Lock. And he's like, look, I don't have any problems and I'm friendly with him and I hope he can learn from me, but I'm not a mentor to anybody. That's not my role. My role here is to play the best I can and go out there and win for my team. And he's repeating the very same things. And it's got a couple people upset, but I actually think it's a pretty well thought out discussion on the role of a quarterback. Should he be a mentor or not for a young kid?
Talking point, you can kind of use it because it's a good question to bait somebody into answering, and no matter how they answer it, it kind of makes the guy that's answering it look bad. If I say I don't want to be a mentor, I look bad. If I say I do want to be a mentor, then I look like an idiot that doesn't care about being good and playing football. So it's one of those questions that no matter what I say, you guys can write what you want to write about it. And there's a lot of questions like that. That's why you end up having to try to avoid them. I tend to try to be honest, and I've said I'm not a mentor. I play football. And in a quarterback room, there's a lot of times there's been a ton of times where there's learning experiences, and I have a lot of experience and I can talk on things, and hopefully they listen. But it's not necessarily my job to make sure they listen to me. And, hey, hopefully you have a really good relationship with the guys that are in the room, and you naturally want to do that, but that was a long-winded answer, but that's ultimately why I think you guys ask it, Here's the thing is because of what I just said, you're acting like I wouldn't want to be a mentor. It's once again, it's not really about that. It's just not the main focus. I see myself as a guy that can play in this league. So if your main focus was just hey, but I'm going to get you ready, you're just not taking care of business. The best way to be a mentor, honestly, is show people how you go to work, and like I said, hope that they pick up on that stuff, but not necessarily force them to pick up on the things that you do.
He's absolutely right. And he's been asked this question several times before, like you said, in Denver, I believe even in Indy last year with Anthony Richardson being a young quarterback and stuff. It's these older veterans, whether it's in sports or, in your typical day-to-day 9-to-5 or whatever, just you don't decide yourself, I'm going to be a mentor. That's a little arrogant. It's usually the younger generation looking up saying, man, that guy is a mentor to me. It's 100% on the younger guys to decide what information you're going to take away from the guy who's been there before you for longer. And that's exactly what Joe Flacco said.
I mean, he could have said, hey, yeah, I'll mentor him by showing him what a starting quarterback looks like because I'm going to be the starting quarterback of this team, or something along those lines. But man, he's got great hair for his age, huh?
Dude, I'm jealous.
Yeah, and this has been a thing before. A couple of years ago, if you remember, when he was back with the Ravens temporarily, there was Robert. RG3 came out and said that, Joe, he didn't want to be a mentor. He didn't want to be a mentor to Lamar. He wanted to play. So it was a weird type of relationship, blah, blah, blah. And he got called racist for not wanting to mentor a black quarterback, even though he also said the exact same thing about Drew Lock in Denver. But ultimately, there are guys in the NFL who are career backups, who know their career backups, who are not competing for starting jobs, that people do bring in specifically for some of those reasons, to teach younger guys exactly what to expect, to get them through this, show them what it's like to watch tape or prepare to insert this specific offense. That shit is abundant in the NFL. But there's a difference between guys like that who aren't looking for a shot, who aren't going to be the starting quarterback, who are quite simply just there to be like a help to the offensive coordinator with a young quarterback versus
like a Case Keenum or a Josh McCown.
Yes.
Chase Daniels. Chad Henne was like that as well.
Exactly. There's guys that are in those roles. But for a guy like Joe Flacco, despite his age, it would be a little bit different if Joe Flacco is on this team and they took Cam Ward or something, But that's not the case. Joe Flacco's there to fucking compete. He's there because he thinks he's the best player. He's the best quarterback on the team right now and gives him the best opportunities to win.
Can we talk about how hilarious it's going to be this summer to see what the Browns do? Because they put themselves in a terrible situation with all these quarterbacks. What do you do? Do you get you can't keep all these quarterbacks on the roster? They got 5. We know Deshaun Watson's not going to be playing or anything like that, but still 4 quarterbacks. No one carries 4 quarterbacks. Rarely do they carry 3. And if you have Shedeur beat out Dylan Gabriel, then you just wasted a 3rd-round pick on Dylan Gabriel. What are you going to do?
Develop him and use trade bait in a few years. I think Kenny Pickett's going to get traded as well.
They've got to trade someone, but they paid him to come in. Not a lot, but I mean, whatever they do, it's going to be funny.
Kenny Pickett to me is the odd man out.
Yes.
I just don't see them cutting Dylan Gabriel, and I don't see them cutting Shedeur Sanders because of the optics and everything.
Or trading them because you're not going to get the value that you spent. If you trade Dylan Gabriel, you're not getting a 3rd-round pick.
Right. So the only person that does have any trade value is Kenny Pickett. At least in my mind, or Flacco, I suppose.
It'd be funny though if Kenny Pickett is during camp this summer is actually playing better than both of them, but you have to trade him away.
Could happen. I mean, it's a nightmare scenario, and then eventually Deshaun Watson may get healthy again at some point in his life.
There's no way he's taking another snap for the Browns. I don't think. Not after what the owners were talking about him as he's still on the team, early, a couple months ago. I don't see it, but you never know.
Do you think he's taking another snap in the NFL?
Yeah, someone will be desperate and give him a shot. It's just how it is. If you're talented enough, we'll see.
Do you think he wants to play anymore?
I wouldn't, but
I don't think he wants to play for the Browns. I think if he got a shot anywhere else, he would want to play. I think he's done with Cleveland. He's just, he's taking his sweet ass time.
Well, that and after the owners come out and just trash you.
He's got fully guaranteed contract.
Ever. Yeah. I mean, you got to like him a little bit because they paid you all that money, right? Can't be too mad at them.
Right. Yeah, they ran Baker out of town, and look what Baker's doing down in Tampa.
Mm-hmm.
They gave him a fucking retarded deal.